Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand. As we wait for more people to show up, of course. Um, Hope everybody's having a good week. Of course, this is Thursday, it's our final news day of the week, and of course, we're gonna go over independent comic showcase and a bit here from Bleeding Cool. Also, also. Um, All right. So with that, of course we're gonna go over that. Of course we'll do the wrestling wrap up, and then also this day in each history. Um, Aside from that, of course, um, we will. Aside from that, of course, we'll be talking a little bit about what's gonna be happening tomorrow as well. So with that, why don't we, let's see? We're gonna wait a few minutes, give people a chance to come in. Um, so as always, if you guys can, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here that we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer those questions to the best of our ability. I will, anyways. I'm the only one here. But anyways, let's see. Yeah, anything. And I thank you guys already for the likes and the shares. Do appreciate that. With that, why don't we go ahead and get started then? We'll get right into main attraction, as it were. Hey, Jr. I saw you there a second just before I say, "Hail, Lord Zeno, and hail, Princess Xena, our only true saviors. Peace be upon them." All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and get started here, of course. Um, get right to it here. So let's do one more little thing here, and then we will get going. All right, so here we go. All right, so Indie Comic Showcase number 236, Crom the Destroyer, Octopus Cowboy, and Rainy Road Roundup. Article by Chris Braley, published yesterday. All right, so welcome back to another installment of Indie Comic Showcase, the weekly blog where we signal boost a few truly independent comics that are currently crowdfunding their projects, crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to the $25 bundle. And of course, the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends and followers. You can also catch my coverage of it every Thursday, you know, Wednesday or Thursday, usually Thursday. Um, on Indie Comic Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, um, and tell you how you can check out the product for yourself. Below, we have some outstanding crowdfunding campaigns this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing one or more of them. Thanks for checking these out and for being the best part of Indie Comic Showcase. Let's jump in. All right. Crom the Destroyer by R.J. Shaw. Actually, I think R.J. R.J. Carter recently did it here. Hey Rick, thanks for popping in. Hail Rick from JR. So RJ, yeah, I think RJ also did a little thing on it. And thank you guys for the likes and shares. As always, for those who haven't, if you guys can like and share, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. It'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So let's get to this. Crom the Destroyer. All right, so Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, RJ. Give me your best elevator pitch for Crom the Destroyer. RJ Shaw, an undefeated king, seeks an honorable death on the battlefield before he loses his strength to the ravages of age. But as he carries his endless war across the face of the earth, he is confronted by an enemy beyond comprehension, and a battle of wills begins. Quote, Crom the Destroyer, unquote, is a 66-page continuous story available as a color graphic novel or a black and white magazine. Wow, interesting. Chris, very cool. What inspired this project and led to you deciding to self-publish? RJ, the book is a love letter to the work of Robert E. Howard and the Celtic myth that inspired him. It is a reforming of the characters of Conan, Kull, and Solomon Kane in view of the mythological characters of Conair Mór, Olsen's son, Finn, and Lugh of the Long Hand. This is my third crowd-funded graphic novel. The first two were superhero adventures. However, I found that there is a real hunger among readers for a return to the basics of low fantasy, as well as a thirst for an authentically honorable, manly hero. That's what Crom the Destroyer provides. Oh, look at that. Every man must fall. Hmm. Let's see. Chris, who is this graphic novel aimed at? What kind of readers will get the most out of it? RJ, drawing on the storytelling of historical works like Robin Hood, the Aeneid, and the Iliad, Crom, the Destroyer, is suitable for older audiences as a serious dive into the subjects of death and honor, while at the same time being balanced with action and intrigue needed to make it an adventure for all ages. Chris, tell me about your creative team on this project. RJ, the project team includes up and coming as well as seasoned artists. Pencils are by Jim O'Reilly and Nick Axe, and the inks are by 1980 Marvel DC artist Michael Gustovich. My pinup artists are Henry Martinez and Luke Eldenschink, and I handle the writing. Chris, now that you've hit your funding goal, how far along is the book? RJ, the book is scheduled to ship at the end of December this year. The internal art is a third done, and the first 11 pages of the 66-page book can be previewed on the Indiegogo campaign page. So The first 11 pages out of 66, that's 1/6 of the book. The first sixth of the book that can be previewed. Look at that, right? Oh my! Oh my! Look at that young lady. Um, what's been the biggest lesson you've learned from crowdfunding comics? From Chris. RJ, this being my third crowdfunded graphic novel, I've learned how to streamline the various creative processes so that the books will reach the backers much faster. Plus, networking with crowdfunding creators has given me access to some really top notch artists. Hmm. I have RJ's first book, exceptionally well done. You're talking about RJ Shaw there, JR? Hmm. So, Chris, are there more plans beyond this book? Are there more stories to tell in this world? RJ, while Crom the Destroyer is a standalone story, it is also the introduction of the main characters within the Crom universe. Um, a second short text story set in this world is being published within Anvil, quote, Anvil Iron Age magazine, unquote, number 2. And there are plans to do both another graphic novel as well as several more text stories. So anyhow, he calls his character Crom 2. I just hope that RJ doesn't have any issues with Pop Van Zandt, because Pop's got a character called Crom 2. Can you just imagine that little war? Pop Van Zandt versus RJ Shaw. Yes, okay. Excellent. Anything else you would like to share with our readers, RJ? Um, RJ, if you're tired of the overly complicated um, Harry Potterish turn that fantasy has taken, and you just want good old basic sword and sorcery low fantasy, Crom the Destroyer is for you. Check out the crowdfunding camp. Well, let's take a quick peek here. All right, so here is the here is the I may start doing this starting tonight when I do these. Kind of help out the cause as well. There's the link to that campaign if you guys want to check that out. I think I will start doing that a little bit. Maybe I'll start doing that a bit. I'm covering these articles, putting the links in from those particular sites so you guys can check that out for yourselves. All right, so on to the next one. Octopus Cowboy, Book 2 by Jason Orfalis. Octopus Cowboy, Book 2. That sounds like a very interesting title there. Chris Braley, welcome back to Indie Comic Showcase, Jason. What's your elevator pitch for Octopus Cowboy? Jason Orfalis. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meet Spaghetti Western in this 100-page full-color graphic novel series. Slade, the octopus, a hyena, and a gorilla. Think I may have even heard about this too recently. Must cast their primal differences aside to escape a bloodthirsty town. And for the last article there it is. If you guys want to go check out that one, it's right there. Anyways, getting back to this article here. Chris, where did the idea for the comic come from, and made you decide to self-publish it? Jason, I was speaking to my friend about comic book genres, and he brought up westerns. Immediately after the call, Octopus Cowboy popped into my head. Wow, that was pretty inspirational right there, wasn't it? The reason I went with such a crazy idea because it's so distinct, and I expected people to have an instant reaction to it one way or another, which makes it memorable. I knew then that I had something special. Yeah, I mean, when you decide to take a chance on something that's never been done before, or that's not being done or hasn't been done before, that's liable to that's a liable possibility that people will really want to talk a lot about it. An octopus riding a horse. That's probably got to be a real interesting sight to be seen, doesn't it? Anyways, um, Chris, the concept is wild. What kind of comic readers is this suited for, and who is it aimed at? Jason, those that enjoy Western movies, specifically the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, I think R.J. Carter actually had this guy on. What was it? The other day, Monday or Tuesday this week, I believe. So this is gonna be. The book can be really serious and funny, and has the potential to smoothly cross into other genres. The first issue allows for this, as I specifically made it to serve as a broad foundation for the series. Okay, Chris, let's get into your creative process. What are some sources of inspiration for you? Jason, I aspire towards a more formal way of storytelling, clean panels, attention to pacing, clarity. I really like the art of David Mazzucchelli, John Buscema, and Goseki Kojima. Try saying those 3 times fast. I study their work and pay attention to how my favorite films are made. I have over 29 years of experience in comic book, advertising, film, and toy industry. I immerse myself in the scenes, do a lot of thinking, and I'm very heavy on editing. The book is about 70% complete with many pages already colored and lettered. Wow, he's got quite a bit of it to go there, huh? A bit of it ready. Chris, what have you been learning from self-publishing, crowdfunding, and creating through this process? Jason, you have to love um, what you do. Develop a strong core, have a firm grasp on the fundamentals. Chris, what are your plans beyond this book? Are there more stories to tell? Jason, I plan to do this series for many years to come. I hope I'm able to bring all the stories I have for this book to life. So he plans on making this a series. It'll be a very interesting series, to say the least. Chris, are there any special features in this book or the campaign that you'd like to mention? Jason, aside from the craftsman of the book itself and many perks, I would um, say that the official trailer is what is most unique about the project. It features original music by Circle 60 and animation on my part. There's the octopus riding a horse again. Look at how he's holding that gun, that rifle. There's the gorilla, and look at that. Looks great, Jason. Any final words for our readers before we sign off? Jason, I want to thank them. I want them to know that this project is being made with readers first and foremost in mind. I've done my homework and I won't let them down. All right, so go ahead, go to the site here. I'm going to copy the. And if you guys would like to, see that, get more information on that book, here is. I'm going to put the link. Octopus Cowboy. Here's a link to that one. For those who would like to check that out. There you go. There's the link to Octopus Cowboy to that. Let's see, Indiegogo, and the other Indiegogo project right there from earlier. So now with that, let's continue on here. Rainy Road Roundup Library by Michael T. Gonzalez. That looks interesting. Look at that. Woo! Rosebud. 5 books ready to ship. Quantities limited. Chris Braley. Welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Michael. Tell us about your project. Michael Gonzalez. We're offering 5 comics in a variety of genres: supernatural, horror, dystopian, sci-fi, dark humor, all ages, action, adventure, in parentheses there. Already completed and ready to blow your mind. Chris, how did you get into self-publishing comics? Michael, I submitted my first proposals to Marvel when I was 11 years old, and then continued trying to break into the industry in my 20s. Unfortunately, it all led nowhere, so I gave up. Fast forward a decade, and with the aid of the internet, in parentheses here, being able to find collaborators from all over the world, having access to an audience via crowdfunding, and being able to distribute digitally, unparenthesed, I realized it might be possible to make one last attempt at this whole comic book thing. So for about the last 8 years, I've been building a library of material from a variety of crazy ideas bouncing around inside my head. So this guy's got some real ambition here. Instead of just focusing on one book, right? He's trying to put out a bunch of books all in one shot. Now that's ambitious, people. That is real ambitious. Let's see. So Chris asked, "Who's your audience for these titles?" Um, Michael, most of my comics so far are for mature audiences, mostly horror, brutal violence, and dark humor. But I am currently developing more all ages mainstream concepts that could appeal to a broader audience and be accessible to kids. I have two young children, and I think it's important to also to uh, try to reach that demo in the indie comic scene to create another generation of comic fans. Yeah, I think Michael was also on RJ's show recently. Turn of the King by Chris. You've worked with a bevy of talent. Tell me how you developed your creative process. Michael, I've completed 5 books, and 3 of them are anthologies. Real ambitious. Real ambitious. Wow. That's quite a bit of work there. So I probably collaborated with close to 50 different pencilers, inkers, colorists, etc. And every time it's been a unique experience. Some good, some bad. But you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have 2D on roller skates. You notice even I was tempted to go into song there, right? The fact of life. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. That's so funny. Funny, funny, funny. I grew up mainly reading G.I. Joe, Captain America, and X-Men, so I'm sure my writing is influenced by them to some degree, even if I'm not conscious of it. I think my point of view is one of an average blue collar guy who struggles to make his way in the world and fulfill his role as protector and provider. So even if the story is an epic space adventure, my take on it will not only include exhilarating action, but also the character's inner turmoil. Thick of darkness. Um, Chris. So what's your production workflow like? Michael. I have to have all my ducks in a row before I contact anyone else about working on a project. I take extensive notes and keep building the concept until the foundation and frame of the house are in place, so to speak. So, very analytical mindset sound like very practical. Um, when I contact an artist, I have photo references for them um, of characters and locations. I have detailed character bios and a plot synopsis, and I have a completed script. Of course, the artist can provide input and things can change, but I'm not going to ask someone to work me on a project unless it's pretty much ready to go. Hmm, that's that's pretty good. Pretty good thought there. Chris, I imagine you've learned a thing or two about self-publishing. What is the biggest lesson in your experience? Um, Michael, so many things I could write. So many things I could write an entire book on this process. Parentheses and probably be finished with it before GRRM um, finishes. Um, quote unquote winds of winter in parentheses. I guess. Um, The most important lesson is that completing an indie comic is just one phase of the struggle. Getting people to buy it is just as difficult, if not more so. And it takes a whole different skill set, one which I have mastered. At times, I'm so lost that I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. What's next after this campaign? This campaign isn't to raise funds to complete a comic. All comics I'm offering are completed. The idea with this campaign is to hopefully reach more people and build a bigger audience who will make it financially possible to continue making comics. I love writing, creating stories and characters, and sharing them with people. So there's always more to be said. All of the comics I've completed so far are just the introductions to those characters. There's much more that could come, but it just depends on if I can get more support. I've got plans, baby. Big plans. He sure does. He's quite an ambitious writer. Good luck, Michael. Anything else you'd like to share with our readers? Um, Michael, I've committed a great deal of time, energy, and money to create comics with the highest level of professionalism and craftsmanship, but I haven't been able to garner much support from the indie crowd. So it's come to the point where I can no longer continue to do this unless more people give these comics a chance. I'm not looking for millions of dollars. I'm just looking for more people to say, quote, hey, I like this. I want to see more, unquote. And with that, let's go ahead and get the link to the site, as it were. Rainy Road Roundup number 5. And here is the link to that one. Oh, I forgot to. All right, I kind of forgot to. Rainy Road Roundup. Now I'll put the link up. Was so excited that I just simply forgot to. There you go. Rainy Road Roundup, Octopus Cowboy, and Crom the Destroyer. So if those campaigns have caught your attention, feel free to go check those out if you want. Um, so with that, we're now, and I thank you guys for the likes and the shares. So with that, that was the only article I was going to do tonight, and so we're going to move on to the wrestling roundup here. As mentioned yesterday, of course, Terry Funk had passed away. You know, wrestling and former NWA, ECW World Champion Terry Funk passed away yesterday at the age of 79. And many people, including Mick Foley and Ric Flair, have come out with tributes on Twitter and the like. People mourn the loss of course, the former NWA and ECW World Heavyweight Champion, of hardcore legend, and he even had some movie roles. You know, he had a bit part in Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone for one thing. So, and of course, he had some legendary matches with Jerry Lawler in the Memphis territory. So, with that, we'll move on. So this weekend, big big set of events going on this weekend as of course AEW, which we'll talk about first. AEW had its Dynamite event last night in preparation for this Sunday's All In, as in the night saw John Moxley defeat Ray Phoenix, and the Blackpool Combat Club proceeded to give Ray Phoenix a serious beatdown to take him out of the spring stampede match, or the stadium stampede match. Now this was used to cover up the fact that he was having some travel issues due to they were saying due to the fact that I guess he's trying to gain residency here in the States. So Darby Allin and Nick Wayne defeated the Mogul Embassy of AR Fox and George Strickland. It was said that AR Fox was apparently Swerve turned on AR Fox, and now AR Fox might be becoming a face again, it was kind of like, okay, they just turned him heel, now they're going to turn back face. Ruby Soho defeated Sky Blue, and then Aussie Open retained the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships over the Hardys, heading into Sunday's spring All In event. And with that being said, let's go one last time over the card for Sunday here. They also, of course, taped the Collision episode last night for this Saturday, as of course they'll be in England and at Wembley Stadium this weekend. So that's why, and they had already taped the Rampage show last Saturday. So, but on the pre-show, scheduled for the pre-show, Aussie Open will be defending the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships against Adam Cole and MJF, as that story may be heading to a conclusion, as of course they're also slated to face off against each other for the AEW World Title. And Jack Perry will, and as signed last night, I take it, Jack Perry will be defending the FTW title against Hook, as Hook made his return on last night's Dynamite as well. Now, for the card itself, for the pay-per-view card itself, at All In London this Saturday, 38. The card this Saturday will have the following: House of Black, of course Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews will be defending the AEW World Trios title against the members of the Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. And having made his return, well, sort of, Billy Gunn returned last night from his quote-unquote retirement, but he didn't come back as Daddy Ass. He's bringing back Badass. You all remember from the Attitude Era of the WWE, Badass Billy Gunn. He's making a return, and he'll be teaming with the Acclaim to challenge for the AEW World Trios title. CM Punk defends the real AEW World title, the belt that he's held on to, since he never actually lost it. He takes on Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe in a what is said to be a dream match. Chris Jericho will be taking on Will Ospreay. And in the aforementioned Stadium Stampede match, it was originally slated to be 6-on-6, but now it's going to be 5-on-5. As the team of best friends, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston, and Penta El Zero Miedo of the Lucha Brothers will be taking on Blackpool Combat Club members of Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta, and of course the returning Santana and Ortiz, who were formerly a part of the inner circle with Eddie Kingston, as they both seem to have an axe issue and axe grind with Eddie Kingston. This is, I guess, promising to be a very volatile, bloody match. In a 6-man tag match, Bullet Club Gold members of Juice Robinson and Jay White be teaming up with Konosuke Takeshita, who will have Don Callis in their corner, take on the group known as the Golden Elite of Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Adam Page. In a coffin, okay, and then I guess this is where it set things up. I guess that's okay. I guess we have the reason why. AR Fox was turned face again. Now, originally the coffin tag team match was supposed to be AR Fox and Swerve Strickland to take on Darby Allin and Sting. A lot of people are saying that turning Fox face again was to kind of move the storyline along for Darby. As now Christian Cage has replaced AR Fox in the coffin tag team match, as Darby Allin will be getting a shot at the TNT title against Luchasaurus at the following Sunday, September 3rd's All Out pay-per-view. That's the only match that has been signed thus far. People probably don't have that on mind. For the AEW Women's World Title, Hikaru Shida will be defending that title in a fatal four-way match, with the challengers being Saraya, Toni Storm, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. The AEW World Tag Team title match is still on the line, as FTR, current champions with Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, will be taking on Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, in the rubber match of their rivalry. And in the main event for AEW's All In at Wembley Stadium, MJF will be defending against Adam Cole, the man he'll be teaming with on the pre-show to go after the Ring of Honor. The only question that's been kind of picked at a little bit is who, with them being with the MJF Cole bromance going on, who's going to turn on who here? Will MJF turn on Cole, or will Cole turn on MJF? I guess you'll just have to wait and see, as it were. So, as we continue the wrestling wrap-up, of course, we do have more news going on, as also Impact Wrestling will be having its Emergence pay-per-view on this Sunday. I believe that's coming from Toronto, Canada. So yeah, Impact Wrestling will be the Emergence pay-per-view will be happening from the Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto, Canada. They'll of course have the pre-show countdown to Emergence, but no matches have apparently been signed for that part of it yet. But the main event, so on the Emergence pay-per-view, here's the lineup. Here's the lineup for the Emergence pay-per-view this Sunday. In a non-title match, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Sonata will be taking on Jake something. In a back-to-school match, Frankie Kazarian will be taking on Eddie Edwards. This rivalry's been going on for the last couple months or so. Recently Frankie Kazarian accidentally hitting Alicia Edwards with a kendo stick as he was running back hit Eddie. This rivalry revolves around the two men's viewpoints on professional wrestling and the fact that they're both Kowalski guys. These guys were both trained by Walter Killer Kowalski, WWF Hall of Famer. For the Impact World Tag Team titles, the current tag team champions of Subculture of Mark Andrews, or Mandrews as he's sometimes called, Flash Morgan Webster, teaming with Danny Luna in their corner, taking on the Rascals of Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. The Rascals recently won the tournament, albeit through some underhanded tactics, to become the number one contenders and get this title shot. They personally believe was overdue. Kenny King will be defending the digital media title against Johnny Swinger. In a four-way match for the Impact Knockouts tag team title, the champions, MK Ultra of Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich, will be defending against Samantha Evans and Giselle Shaw, the Coven of Kylan King and Taylor Wilde, and the Death Dolls of Jessica and Courtney Rush. This four-way feud's been kind of brewing recently. Now, Giselle Shaw's been adamant about getting any kind of title shot. But the problem with her history in tag teams is not that great. Anytime she's teamed up with somebody, it's usually ended in disaster for them. The Coven and Death Dolls, both being former champions themselves, there's a bit of rivalry there as the Coven took the titles of Death Dolls. So this is really going to this should prove to be a very volatile and hot match here. And in an in the penultimate match of the night, 8-man tag team match in which the team of Moose, Brian Myers, Bully Ray, and Leo Rush will be taking on Josh Alexander and the trio known as Time Machine of Impact World Champion Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, and Kushida. A lot of bad blood in this 8-man tag. Another match that you should keep your eyes on. And then the main event for Emergence for the Impact Knockout World title, Deonna Purrazzo is cashing in her contractual rematch as she will be challenging Trinity for the Impact World Knockouts title. Now, the knockouts, just in case you don't know, knockouts is the term they use for the women's title in Impact Wrestling. So that's coming up this Sunday at the Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But before we get there, there's a go home. There is a go home Impact Wrestling happening tonight on the pre-show on BTI if you decide to watch that. Champagne Singh will be taking on Russ Jones on the pre-show on tonight's, which you can watch on actually before the Impact isn't going to be shown on YouTube. Usually before the Impact is shown on YouTube, but guess I'll have to wait and see. Now the card for tonight's Impact Wrestling. The main event for tonight, Alex Shelley will actually be defending the world title tonight against Brian Myers. Samurai Del Sol finally makes his in-ring debut on Impact, taking on Chris Sabin. Ace Austin and Chris Bay look to get some revenge as they take on the good hands of Jason Hotch and John Schuyler. As Hotch and Schuyler cost them their match against Swan and Callahan in the semifinals of the tournament to crown the number one contenders for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. Diener will take on Laredo Kid, and in a non-title match, Trinity, as a warm-up, will be taking on Jody Threat. Jody Threat, of course, who's been on a bit of a roll since coming to Impact as well. So, with all of that being said, and we do have one more piece of, we do have a little bit more of some wrestling as coming up over both on Saturday and Sunday. NWA will be having its 75th anniversary show this weekend on both Saturday and Sunday from the Chase Park Plaza in St. Louis. Of course, the old home of the St. Louis branch of the St. Louis office of the NWA. The late legendary Sam Munchnick was the promoter for that area. So on the card for night one of the card for night one of the anniversary show on Saturday, Kerry Morton Kerry Morton, son of Ricky Morton, will be defending the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title against Colby Corino. So this will be a battle of two second-generation guys, Kerry Morton and Colby Corino. Actually, Kerry Morton might even be a third generation because I think his dad was also involved in the wrestling business as well. But or his grandfather rather, because we know his dad is Ricky Morton, the legendary tag team wrestler. Yeah, Paul Morton, who was a referee, I believe. So third generation guy here in Kerry Morton. In a match to crown the vacated NWA National Heavyweight title in a triple threat match, Kratos, Odison, and Silas Mason, Thrillbilly Mason, will be taking each other on to see who will come out on top to become the new national heavyweight title. Now the previous champion EC3 had vacated the title upon getting his seventh successful title defense, the Lucky Seven that Billy Corgan's adopted, in which if you're a champion, you have 7 successful title defenses, you can relinquish the title to get a shot at whatever belt you want. And a lot of times, it's usually the world heavyweight title. So Kratos, Odinson, and Silas Mason will be vying for the national heavyweight title. In a no disqualification match in a battle of two former NWA World Champions, Tim Storm will be taking on his old rival Jack Dane. Jack Dane, the Dane event as he calls himself, having been frustrated lately with being on a bit of a losing streak of late and then getting in the face recently of Tim Storm, as Tim Storm has become more of a commentator now. So, and Tim Storm, you have to understand too, Tim Storm was, when he was NWA World Champion, he was already in his early 50s. He's, I think, 56 now. And for a guy that old, he still looks good. He could run with some of the younger guys in the company. He just, of course, chooses not to. He's kind of done everything already that he's wanted to do in the business. Matt Cardona will be, of course, at the event. His opponent has yet to be announced. In a number one contender Mildred Burke Invitational Gauntlet match for the NWA World Women's title, this match will be to set up the opponent for whoever wins a match that we'll talk about in a moment. So in this match, in the number one contenders gauntlet match, you have former NWA World Women's Champion and Women's Tag Champion Allison Kay versus The Woad versus Samantha Starr versus Heather Monroe versus CJ versus Sierra MJ Jenkins versus Ruthie J versus Taylor Rising. Now, a curious thing was going on the other day as Samantha Starr may have turned heel. She was involved in a match on the other night's episode of Power with Ruthie J, in which towards the end of the match she started kind of, taking some shortcuts and acting more heelish. Now, whether or not this is a heel turn or this was just her just simply being frustrated, we'll have to wait and see. The NWA World Tag Team Champions will be on the line as La Rebellion, the champions, will be taking on Blunt Force Trauma. And we'll get to night 2 in a moment. And then the main event of night 1, we'll see Camille taking on Natalia Markova. Now, of course, the winner of that match will be defending the title the following night on night 2 against the winner of the gauntlet match I just previously talked about. So yeah. Night 2 of the NWA 75 will feature, or just signed this week, Tom Latimer will be defending the NWA television title against Chris the masterpiece Chris Adonis. These two are former tag team partners in the tag team and stable of Strictly Business. This match came about on the final episode of season 13 of NWA Power, as the two of them teamed up take on Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch, and we'll talk about that too. And what should have been a solid match, this turned into a squash that should not have been a squash, to help set up this match, as Adonis would turn on Latimer here to set up this match. The NWA World Women's Tag Team title will be on the line as the current NWA World Women's Tag Team Champions M95 of Maddie and Missa Kate will be taking on the duo of Pretty Empowered. This particular combination will be going out be Ella Envy, a two-time champion, and Kylie Page. Of course, Ella Envy had previously won the title with Kylie's older sister Kenzie, who's the NWA World Women's Television title holder, and Roxy. Now she seeks to get a third women's tag team title with Kylie here. In a singles match, in a junior heavyweight singles match, you have a former junior heavyweight champion Homicide taking on Joe Alonzo. Alonzo's been really digging into Homicide with some scathing promos on social media. The Country Gentlemen will be defending their title in a match that will be determined on night 1's pre-show. On the night 1 pre-show, the Fixers will be taking on Daisy Kill and Talos, determine who will be facing off against the Country Gentlemen here. Camille, or right now it's Camille, but as I said, the winner of the World Women's title match on night 1, whether it be Camille or Natalia Markova, will be defending the title against the winner of the Gauntlet match, as we had said previously. And the winner of the night 1 World Tag Team title match between La Rebellion and Blunt Force Trauma will be going on to night 2 to defend the title against Knox and Murdoch. Mike Knox. And the main event we'll see Tyrus, and possibly his final match, his retirement match, taking on EC3 in a bull rope match. The reason I say final match is because Tyrus has claimed that if he does not retain the title here, if he does lose, he will retire. So that's going down this weekend in St. Louis. Let me just go back and go over the pre-show cards real quick. Now we're going to go slightly over an hour here. And I only did one story tonight, of course. Um, so, anyways, getting back to the just going over the pre-shows for the night one pre-show, which will be on YouTube. We'll see a number one contendership 21-man battle royal for the so there'll be a 21-man battle royal to determine the number one contender to the NWA National Heavyweight title. Now, I would imagine that they're going to use this. Whoever wins this could get the title shot as soon as night two of NWA 75. In a Jubilee Jamboree match, Alex Taylor will be taking on Jack Cartwheel, and they'll be so this will be what looks like a five-way match here in the Jubilee Jamboree match. You have participating in that Alex Taylor, Jack Cartwheel, Matt Vine, Eric Jackson, and Koa Laksamana. Zion, with Austin Idol in his quarter, will be taking on Jordan Clearwater. And the number one contendership match for the NWA United States Tag Team titles be the Fixers versus Daisy Kill and Talos. The two of these individuals will be going on to night two. The winner of this match will be going on to night two to take on the Country Gentlemen. And finally, night two of the NWA 75. Oh, wait, no, that was actually one of the pre-show. We already talked about the main show, but the pre-show for night two, we'll see. Oh, they don't have any matches signed for night two yet. All right, so that's all the wrestling wrap-up we have for you. So, good time to start winding down. We got a lot of good content in there for daily wrestling. A lot going on this weekend in the world of professional wrestling. But with that, we're now, today being August 24th, 2023. Let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. Right, so first off, we're going to head back to 1963, as on this date 60 years ago today. On this date 60 years ago today, Tony Bourne, Tough Tony Bourne, the father of the late Matt Bourne, a.k.a. the original Doink the Clown, Tough Tony Bourne defeated Billy White Wolf for the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight title in Portland on this date 60 years ago today. So, on this date 60 years ago today, Tony Bourne, the father of the late Matt Bourne, a.k.a. The original Doink the Clown, defeated Billy White Wolf for the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight title. So with that, let's move on to the second piece. And on this one, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Grey Delisle. Happy 50th birthday to voice actress Grey Delisle. Of course, probably her most famous work is as one of the more recent voices of Daphne Blake, Scooby-Doo series. Among some of her other credits include Lucretia on Harvey Girls Forever, Mandy from Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Emily Elizabeth in Clifford the Big Red Dog, Vicky from the Fairly Odd Parents, Frankie Foster in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Yumi, hi Puffy Yami Yumi. Basically, one of the more and a pretty well-known voice actress. So happy 50th birthday to Gray Delisle. So anyways, moving on to the next piece of niche history here. As we move ahead to 2005, I believe. As on this date in 2005, the 25th issue of Invincible from Image Comics went on sale on this date. Sold for $4.95. It's 48 pages, written by Robert Kirkman, with art by Ryan Otney, lettered by Russ Houghton, and then Bill Crabtree did the coloring. So on this date, 18 years ago today, back in 2005, 25th issue of Invincible went on sale on this date back in 2005. And finally, heading back just 10 years ago today, on this date 10 years ago today, Studio Dean's Hakuoki Wild Dance of Kyoto, the anime film, the historical fantasy action anime film, premiered in Japanese theaters on this date back in 2013. 10 years ago today, the anime film from Studio Dean, Hakuoki Wild Dance of Kyoto, premiered in movie theaters. All right, well, with all that said, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I thank everybody for all the likes and shares. Hope everybody enjoyed the content tonight. Tomorrow night, of course, I will have Apex from Apex Comics here with me, and we'll be going over books that went on sale in December. We'll be starting our coverage of December 1939. We'll be going over books that went on sale from DC Comics in December of 1939. Of course, you're reading Superman, Hawkman, Sandman. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. Hope to see you all back here tomorrow. Bye.